6 a.m. The alarm rings. Rush hour, stress, and endless work. This is life today. But for thousands of years, humans lived differently. No alarms, no bosses, no schedules. We woke up with the sun, completely free. Then, we changed everything. We traded our freedom for the clock. But what did we actually lose? But this wasn't just about waking up early, it was a completely different rhythm of life. Forget the endless grind of cubicles and climbing corporate ladders. Our ancestors didn't spend their lives chasing money or meeting artificial deadlines. Instead, their days were defined by community, movement, and the simple act of living. So, how did we go from that deep, natural freedom to the exhausted, clock-driven life we led today? It wasn't just about not working. It was about how we spent our time. Our ancestors were creators. They filled their days with art, crafting tools, and learning skills not for a paycheck, but for the joy of creation and the survival of their people. They understood the value of their time, investing it in what truly mattered: connection, beauty, and each other. We've traded the deep sense of purpose for a repetitive cycle that leaves us wondering if we're living at all. It wasn't a life of leisure, but it was a life of purpose. Hunting, gathering, and crafting weren't chores, they were essential survival skills shared by the whole group. There was no work-life balance because there was no division between the two. You worked for your family, your friends, and your community. Today, we trade our most valuable asset, our time, for a paycheck, while the essence of true security, which lies in our bonds and our skills, slowly fades away. The most shocking part? Our ancestors were not stressed. They didn't have police, debt, or financial survival to worry about. They lived in an affluent society because their needs were few, and their environment provided everything. They had plenty of time for social life, laughing, grooming, playing, and just being human. We think we have more because we have more things, but look at our stress levels. We have everything, yet we have no time to enjoy it. And then there is sleep. We've been taught that 8 hours of straight, uninterrupted sleep is the only way to function. But that's a modern invention. Our ancestors practiced segmented sleep. They would wake up in the middle of the night, spend an hour or two in quiet reflection or socializing by the fire, and then drift back into a second sleep. This wasn't a disorder, it was a rhythm that kept them connected to themselves and each other. We've lost this, along with so much else, in our race to keep up with the clock. Then came the turning point, the agricultural revolution. We stopped following the food and started forcing the earth to provide for us. It sounded like security, but it became a trap. We traded our freedom for permanent fields, grain silos, and backbreaking labor. We weren't just growing crops, we were growing chains. We became bound to the land, vulnerable to raiders, and suddenly, life became defined by how much we could store and defend, rather than how we could live. As civilization grew, so did the system. Specialized roles emerged: potters, weavers, soldiers, and administrators. At first, it seemed like progress, but it created a hierarchy that swallowed our individuality. We weren't just people anymore, we were workers in a grid of square houses and rigid schedules. We stopped working for survival and started working for the system, trading our freedom for a sense of security that kept us trapped in a loop we never chose. We now measure our worth by what we own: cars, trophies, status. But look back at the original human: no career, no debt, no work label. They were already enough. While we spend our lives climbing a bridge of labor just to reach retirement, they spent their time on art, connection, and simply being. We traded our genuine freedom for a promise of security, but in the process, we lost the very thing that made us human. So, what do we do now? We can't just turn back the clock to the forest, but we can change how we see our time. When you strip away the labels, the rush, and the endless work boxes, you're left with a choice. We traded our freedom for the system, but the system doesn't have to own you. You are more than a cog in a machine. You are the architect of your own day. The question is, what would you actually do if you were truly free?